we will probably have a mix of students who are currently admit or who are still considering, applying for programs, or who some of them might already, the, confirm their intent to enroll. So feel free to let us know where you are. And it's officially 8 o'clock, and I'm going to start the recording. Um, Again, welcome to the monthly virtual section, the International Student Experience, hosted by the Brown School at Washington University in St. Louis. And before we officially start the program, please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. Let us know your name, your hometown, your admit program, and we would love to get to know you. I think we should go ahead and get started. And my name is Zizi Shirley, and I use she, her pronouns. I'm currently the manager of global programs at the Brown School, and I'm also the co-host today, joined by Tammy Woodward, the director of global programs office, and we will be covering the international student experience at the Brown School. And I'm very excited to have you joining our session today. So before we started, here are a few housekeeping items. So today's webinar now is being recorded. So if you cannot join the full section, you can check our virtual platforms such as YouTube to rewatch the video. And also the closed captions are currently enabled, and can be activated at any time. And we are in a Zoom webinar, so we cannot see or hear the audience, and we cannot call on raised hands at this time. But we do invite you to use the Q&A feature and not the chat to submit questions during today's conversation. And due to the limited time, some questions may not be answered. Some questions will be answered once in the Q&A window by admissions colleagues, and some of them will be selected to be answered live by the panel at the end. But if we don't get to answer your questions during today's webinar, please feel free to reach out to us via the email Brown Admissions. And I'm going to see the slides. Thanks for the reminder. And okay, so I know I have talked a lot, and now I want to pass the opportunity to introduce my amazing co-host, Tammy Woodward. And Tammy, could you please make an introduction?
Sure. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. So as Ziti said, I'm Tammy Orhood. I'm the Director of Global Programs. I've been in this position for almost 10 years at the Brown School, at WashU for 15. My entire career has been in global education. I have a doctorate in educational policy with a focus on global studies and education. Both my undergrad and my master's degree were in international affairs. I have lived abroad. I have just a real passion for the diversity of global education and welcoming international students to the US and also sending Americans abroad. I feel very strongly about that. So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tammy. And next, I want to go over our today's agendas briefly. So we will have a panel introduction, and then we will talk about international community at both Brown School and also in St. Louis. And then we will go over the resources and support for international students at WashU. And then if we have enough time, we will open it up for the Q&A section at the end. So this is today's brief agenda. And next, I would like to also introduce our amazing panelists. Today we have Ethan Pai and also Estera Twinney. They are both our current students at the Brown School, and then they will share about their experience. And so first of all, Ethan, I will let you get started, and then please introduce yourself, your pronouns, home country, and then your program and concentration. Welcome, Ethan.
Oh, thank you, Zizi. And hello, everyone. My name is Ethan Pai, and I'm a second-year MSW and PhD dual degree student. And my concentration for MSW is health, and for MPH it's generalist. and I'm from Taiwan. Oh yeah, and my pronouns are she, her.
Thank you so much, Izan. And next we will have Esther. Esther, please introduce yourself.
You're on mute.
Oh,
Sorry.
oh, okay.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Estella. I use she, her pronouns. I'm currently in my first year of the MPH program at the Brown School, and my concentrations are in epidemiology and biostatistics. Originally, I'm from Ghana, specifically Accra, Ghana, and I'm happy to be here and share my experiences with you.
Thank you both so much. And I am excited to learn about your experiences later during the discussion. So, all right. The next, we will talk about the diverse and inclusive and amazing international community at the both Brown School and also in St. Louis community. So just give you some numbers. So at the Brown School, we currently host 185 master and doctoral international students from 34 countries and regions across all programs. Students from Asia, Middle East, Africa, Europe, Central America, and South America. And we do have a really big global community at the Brown School. To support our international community and also celebrate the diverse cultures, Global Programs Office planned and organized so many events, including the annual culture showcase. We actually just had one 2 weeks ago, and we have students from Ethiopia, China, Bangladesh, and so many different countries and regions to present, perform, and share about their culture during this event. In addition to that, throughout the academic year, we also have some cultural celebrations just according to the calendar. For example, we have Lunar New Year. We had Ramadan Iftar, also just ended earlier last month. So we really want to, utilize these opportunities to create an inclusive environment and help students to feel a sense of belonging here at the Brown School. In addition, we also work closely with campus partners to provide information and experiences that will help ease your transition here to the St. Louis and also to the US. We want to provide opportunities for our international students and scholars to socialize and networking and just, have a more enriched life outside the classroom. So for example, we will have the International Student Orientation. This is also hosted by the Global Programs Office in mid-August every year. And then followed by the International Orientation, we will also have GPO resource sections throughout the year. For example, we will invite some guest speakers to talk about some topics that students are interested in learning about. For example, we have a really popular one. We talk about how to buy a car here in the US. We will also have some resource section to talk about mental health support here at WashU. We will also invite the WashU Police Department staff members to share us about some tips, how to live safely here in the US. So we do have a lot of programs and events. We really want to help you to have an easier transition to the US. So last but not least, we to enhance the cross-cultural experiences for both domestic and international students, GPO do provide a very unique opportunities, including global field-based courses and global practical opportunities, and etc. These opportunities are partially subsidized, and we would each year we will open up the opportunities and share these opportunities to help students to get some more practical experiences outside the US. This year, for example, we will have 2 courses One courses we just finished. We brought students to Brazil to learn about the LGBTQIA policies in Brazil. And in the upcoming summer semester, we will also have another one in South Korea to learn about the senior housing in South Korea. So there are a lot of great opportunities for you to explore here at the Brown School. And next, let's talk about the diverse communities here in St. Louis. St. Louis metro area had the highest percentage increase in foreign-born population in the United States from 2022 to 2023. And St. Louis actually placed the first among the 30 largest metro area in the US. And there are reasons, for this such a high influx and to attract a lot of international talents to St. Louis. The reasons are including the really low cost of living compared with bigger cities. And there are also tons of education and professional opportunities for people to learn and grow here in St. Louis. And due to this diverse population, St. Louis area has a series of culture events throughout the year. And I would like to highlight some of my personal favorite events. As you may see in this slide, the first one is the Japanese Festival. This is hosted by the Missouri Botanical Garden during the Labor Day weekend. And this is an event where you can learn about Japanese culture through some stage performers such as taiko drums. And also there are a lot of great delicious foods and a lot of cultural decorations that you can purchase at the event. It was really, really fun and really friendly to people, particularly parents with, kids. And the second one is Animal Glow. This is an event hosted by St. Louis Zoo, where you can enjoy the traditional Chinese lanterns and also celebrate the cultures and art here in the St. Louis Zoo. And then the third one is the Festival of Nations. This is also an annual event. It is hosted by the International Institute. Every year during the summertime, it is happening in the Talgrove Park. And usually there are over 80 countries represented across the vendors, stage performance, and interactive experiences. It's pretty fun, and there are tons of delicious foods and drinks that you can enjoy during that event. The next one is African Art Festival. This is actually the first, the first St. Louis African Art Festival was actually held in 1991 as an outgrowth of the 34th Annual African Study Conference hosted by WashU. And the St. Louis African Art Festival is actually held in the Forest Park, which is another beautiful location that you cannot miss when you are here in St. Louis. And usually it happens during the Memorial Day weekend, and where you can see a lot of rich performers and vendors and a lot of great stuff during that festival. And the last two ones, first is the Hispanic Festival. St. Louis has a really high percentage of Hispanic population, and this is a festival where they celebrate the Hispanic culture throughout the art, music, cuisines, and the history of this festival is also over 30 years. Last but not least, Ramadan Iftar. There are a lot of Ramadan celebrations during Ramadan in St. Louis, and one of the biggest one is actually hosted by the Islamic Foundation of Great St. Louis. So this is just a nutshell of a lot of great events happening in St. Louis, and I believe there will be more opportunities that you can explore when you are actually here. So I have been talking a lot. Now I'm gonna pass it on to our panelists. So the first questions for our panelists is that, so what is something you like about St. Louis that you didn't expect? And Ethan, Estera, or even Tammy, feel free to unmute yourself and answer the question.
I can go first. So something that I didn't expect was like what Zizi just mentioned. Like I didn't know there is such a diverse cultures in St. Louis, and I really enjoy Festival of Nations, of course, and I also want to highlight the Japanese festival at the Botanical Garden. And I'm also a big foodie, so I'm glad that I'm able to like try out different cuisines in St. Louis. Like there's not just Taiwanese food, which is super important for me, but also there's like Ethiopian, Filipino, Peruvian, like all kinds of food that you can try in St. Louis. So that's something I didn't expect.
Thank you, Tin. I would also like reiterate the diversity. I didn't expect it. I think usually because when we are coming to the US, we hear a lot about like the West Coast and then the East Coast and then the Midwest thing. We don't really hear much about it. But then when I came, I realized like there's so much diversity. Like the cuisines Eaton talked about. For my West African people, there is a place you can have some good West African food. I'll share it in the books. Aside that, I also was surprised by how calm and like very how calm St. Louis was. It's not like it feels like a small town, but it's very big and it's generally very calm. Also, another thing that surprised me was like the cost of living for a student. I believe this is a place to start for an international student if you want to come to the US, because the cost of living with a house and with like your day-to-day activities, it's very, very livable. And another thing is there's always something to do. There's so many free events you can do. Like if you're bored on a weekend, you can just walk to Forest Park. There'll be something happening. There'll be a concert going on. You can just join in and just like have fun. Yeah, so those are some of the things that surprised me about St. Louis.
Yeah, we do have a lot of free museums and other activities. The only city that has more free museums than St. Louis is Washington, D.C. with the Smithsonian. So take advantage. And many of them are in Forest Park, which we've mentioned, which is also the largest public park in the United States. It's larger than Central Park in New York, and it's right next to WashU's campus.
Thank you all so much for sharing. And in case you didn't have the opportunity to join our another section, things you didn't know about St. Louis is actually recorded and on our YouTube channel. Our panelists and guest speakers over there have more to say about St. Louis. So feel free to check it out if you want to learn a little bit more about St. Louis. So thank you again for sharing your experiences. And then the next, I will like to pass it on to Tammy to share a little bit more about the resources and support for international students at both at Brown School, WashU, and also at community level. Tammy.
Yes, happy. So WashU is a well-resourced place, and there's so much going on, and the GPO is here for the international students. So as Zitzi noticed, we plan all kinds of things, starting with the International Student Orientation in August that everyone will attend. We have many very practical resource sessions about buying a car or banking. We also listen to our global faculty who are doing research or who themselves were once international students through our Global Tables luncheon to learn about their career path. And then we have a lot of different career development events that are specific for international students. Such as an international alumni networking. We have one of those coming up this weekend. We also, through our office, we have a free English as a second language class that is tailored to the Brown School curriculum. You'll hear more about that from me this summer, but every international student is evaluated for that. And then if it is deemed you need to take it, you'll do that in the fall, and it'll help supplement the foundation curriculum that you will be in. We have lots of virtual engagement too, so you can start right now to engage with us. You can go to our Global Brown website, globalbrown.ustil.edu, sign up for our newsletter, find out about news and events that are happening right now. And also, please engage with us on social media if you have not already. And then for in-person engagement, we hire global peer leaders. Eatson is one of those, so you can be matched with a current student in the fall, just so you can ask them about any sort of question being a student. And then we have lots of student groups, such as the International Student Association, which I'm faculty advisor for you to get involved. Next slide. So we do have a very student-centered approach at the Brown School. There is a lot of support. I think that's one thing you should take away from this. So Global Programs Office, we're talking about that today, but we also have a University Graduate Student Center for all graduate students. They have a lot of programming, a lot of resources, including if you happen to be a parent and you're interested in information on schools or daycares. We have a writing center and speaking studio, which is also university wide for you to utilize if you have papers or projects or policy briefs, etc. We have an entire student affairs team. You will meet them during orientation. You will have advisors. You will have field advisors and academic advisors and faculty advisors. We mentioned the Center for Career Engagement. This is university-wide, but we have our own liaison, Amber Brown, who is on the same floor that most of the academic advisors and GPO and the field offices. So she's right there, and she has events every week and brings employers directly to the students. We also have professional development programs. Again, you can get involved with those right now through Open Classroom because those are online. We've mentioned the groups, the programs. You will also have an opportunity to engage with financial services throughout this process. They'll be at our orientation as well and with you throughout your study at the Brown School. As Zitzi mentioned, we have an in-house library also on that third floor of Brown. That's a very important place to visit when you come. A statistics lab as well that is now virtual so that you can meet with them during Zoom. And then the Office of Diversity, Inclusion, and Equity is housed in the Brown School as well, but it's university-wide. And I mentioned the advising, but we call it holistic advising because you'll have support and advisors from many different aspects, from career to academic advising to field, which is what we call practicum. So you are supported from the moment you walk in the door and then even after you are an alum. And so here's some lovely pictures from some of the things that I've mentioned with some great shots at the Brown School. So practicum fairs, the field office will have those throughout the year. We've talked about academic advising, student group activities. This is actually students at our St. Louis Blues hockey team. We love our sports in St. Louis. We are a sports town and we're very proud of them. So we have professional hockey, professional baseball, professional soccer, and then we have professional American football as well. And our hockey team is actually in the playoffs right now, so it's very exciting. Field-based courses. So this happens to be in Berlin. We will offer a series of courses that are faculty-led around the world every year. Next year, we are going to be running the South Korea aging and housing class, and also immigration and displaced persons class in Colombia. And then if we have a separate process for global practica for those of you that might be doing global health or ISED or interested in working abroad, where you can actually do your practicum overseas with dedicated partners. And then this is the lovely Hillman Hall, one of the 3 buildings in the Brown School. And this space, the forum, we have many conferences, workshops, speakers, events. That's where we held the cultural showcase. It's a great space for collaboration and learning. So more resources. We've mentioned many of these, but so that you can see all of them. OISS, the Office for International Students and Scholars, they are the ones that will issue your I-20 or your DS 2019, and then they have resources for making sure you're maintaining your status and for filing taxes and employment, CPT, OPT. We'll learn all about that. We also have an Office for International Student Engagement. They too will have orientation activities, move into St. Louis. They have a lot of resources, so I encourage you to look at their website as well as you move to St. Louis. They will also put on events and programs. I can't talk enough about our Center for Career Engagement. You can get involved with them from the moment you step on campus. The first thing you're going to need to do is make sure you have an American style resume, and they can help you with that. And then the Graduate Center we've mentioned before, they have a funding database. I've seen some questions about funding in the chat, so they've been compiling those resources. And if you are coming with children, they have also a lot of child and family care resources. So OISS, they are going to be doing newly admitted students question and answer virtual sessions on April 18th and throughout April 18th to July 25th. So if you're interested in engaging with them early, or you have specific questions about coming to the US. And then on April 24th, there's a very specific session, prepare for your visa interview. And that's going to be with a former consular officer. So I highly recommend that. I know there's a lot of questions and concerns around visa interviews. They're very short. So there are some tips for what you can do to have a successful visa interview, and that will be on April 24th. And then community resources. So I've seen a lot of questions about housing. So you want to definitely look at these housing links. So WashU actually owns its own housing. It's called Quadrangle. You can see the link there. These are houses within walking distance, houses, apartments, etc., within walking distance of WashU. So these are fully vetted by WashU, and so we recommend them. They all have green doors, so you can tell as you're driving around the WashU or walking around the WashU campus, if it has a green door, it's Quadrangle housing. There's also apartment referral services that we recommend. So these are also people who have apartments available, and WashU keeps an eye on that as well. So these are good, safe places to start looking for students. There's more on housing at the OISS website. So start with these links as well as engaging with social media. There's an incoming Facebook page, for example, where students can find roommates. And then transportation. So you will get a U-Pass, is what we call it, which is a transportation pass that's going to give you access to the St. Louis Metrolink, which is our light rail, the St. Louis bus, and then the WashU transportation, which we call Campus Circulator, which goes around the campus, and also WashU shuttles. So that U-Pass is free. It's about $80 a month normally if you pay for it. So you can use the transportation system in St. Louis. And we have a new thing that's pretty cool called VIA. So we also have rideshare things like Uber and Lyft, like most US cities. But those can be expensive depending on where and when you're going. But VIA is a ride share that's connected to public transportation. So for $2, it'll get you from your bus or your metro line at the end to where you need to go within certain regions in St. Louis. You can also bike to campus. There's a program where you can get your bike at WashU's campus. We do have a car share if you do need to rent a car to go somewhere that isn't accessible via transportation. You can certainly get to the airport directly to WashU using the Metrolink. And then there are parking permits available if you're bringing a car or you end up buying one. Parking's not cheap. So we do maybe encourage you to look at the other options for transportation. So at this point, I'm gonna ask a question of our international student. What challenges did you encounter? And then what resources and support have you utilized?
I think I would start. I think for me, one of the biggest challenges wasn't even being in St. Louis, it was getting into the US. That was the visa part. So I'm very excited for when you talked about going to have a panel discussion with like a former consular. It's going to be very helpful, and I would encourage all international students to join. Another like challenge, I mean, when we are coming into a foreign country, you don't really know what to expect. But then one thing I would say is WashU has so many resources. Like for every problem you have, there's a solution to it, because you come in and you have an academic advisor, you have an advisor from the Office of International Students, you have a faculty advisor now, and all these people are readily available to help you in case you need anything. Another like challenge I had was I was really thinking about what happens when you have like a medical emergency. So I am a clinician by training, originally from Ghana, and I think you'd realize on your cost of attendance you're supposed to pay like student health insurance. It's really, really good because let's say you have a medical emergency within the US, cost of like medical care is quite expensive here. And so this like health insurance has been very, very helpful in subsidizing also the cost. In addition, what she has this medical aid, like a fund just for medical emergencies for international students. So in case you need to seek care, you can just go when when you're done with the care, whatever bill you receive from like let's say BJC or what you met, you just let the international like medical aid know. They are just going to take care of it. Initially transportation was a little bit of an issue, but Tammy like shared all these like important transportation resources. The U-Pass is really good. And I live in U City, where I am is like a walking distance to the shuttle stop, and they are all around like in U City where the shuttles pass, like the shuttle system pass. So it's very, very convenient when you need to get to campus. You can just walk to the shuttle stop, just get your ID ready, you can get on board. Generally the public transport is very, very decent. And so initially I struggled with it, but you just need to talk to somebody who has been here. They can just direct you. This is what you're supposed to do to get like a transportation. So yes, it's been just a little bit. I haven't had too much of a struggle, but then it's like whenever you need anything or you have challenges, you can reach out to other international students who have been here already and they can help you. And I'm here. I'll share my email in the chat box so that you can just reach out to me.
It's University City, and it's one of the neighborhoods that is right next to WashU, where a lot of students live. Aiton, did you want to answer, or did I go?
Sure. So the first thing that came up to me was filing taxes. So because from where I came from, it's very easy to file taxes every year. But I didn't know that even if you don't have an income in the US, you still have to submit a form stating that you are in the US, but you're not earning any income. That's one thing. And then the other thing is because like in my situation, I have a slightly different ways of filing taxes, and I reached out to the Office for International Student Engagement, and they were very helpful. Like even if they couldn't directly answer my questions, they provided me like websites and like places that I can go, for example, the public library, and I found that really useful. And so I just wanted to highlight that. And I also think that Tammy and Zizi, which I work with them very closely, they're very knowledgeable and very responsive whenever I have a question, whether it's about classes or work or even CPT, which is something that all international schools encounter because we all have to do practicum. And it was my first time doing it, and Zizi and Tammy were being very helpful. And so I'm really grateful for that. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, you did.
yeah, thank you both so much for sharing your experiences. I know that there are a lot of questions popping up, and we will have a deeper discussion during the Q&A section. So before we jump into Q&A, I really want to just share a lot of like really key dates that you need to keep in mind for international students. this is a thing. So I know that there's also questions about the April 1st deadline. So we are currently past the April 1st deadline, which is the final applicant deadline for international students. I want to kind of like explain a little bit more. So in the question, there was a student who is also who is a green card holder. In this case, this deadline does not apply to you, so you still have some time to complete your application. But this is applied to students who will attend a F1 or J1 visa to come to the US for graduate study. And then the May 1st is the deadline for you to confirm your intent to enroll for fall 25 semester. So if you decided to join us, please make the confirmation and also pay the deposit before the May 1st deadline. And then for international students, you also need to provide some financial documents and also other supporting statements. So on May 15th, this is a deadline for you to submit the affidavit of financial support. This is very significant for you to apply for I-20 or DS 2019, which is a very important document to schedule and also do your visa interview. And July 1st is the deferral deadline for international students. So if you decided that you want to defer for 1 year, you need to submit the request prior to July 1st. And then August 1st is the deadline for the visa appointments for international students. I know that it could be a little bit challenging to schedule a visa appointment in some countries and regions. So if you cannot schedule a visa appointment before August 1st, and we will strongly encourage you to, defer and please reach out to us and we would work with you from there. And then August 16th is the final deadline for international students' arrival. I know in the past, some students may arrive past the deadline, but this year we really, have a firm timeline for you to arrive to the US. We want to make sure that students have enough time to prepare for your transition, relocating to St. Louis, and also be ready for the orientation or your coursework. So August 16th is the final deadline for the arrival, and we would not permit any late arrival this year. So here's an important timeline for you to remember. And then next, I know that a lot of you already have a lot of questions, and then we will answer your questions. So first of all, I know that in a lot of pre-submit questions, some students are really interested in learning more about the part-time opportunities for international students, particularly research assistantship. And Ethan and Estera, could you please share a little bit more about your personal experience?
Yeah, part-time employment on campus, because international students can work 20 hours a week while they're in session on campus only. And then during breaks like summer, they can work up to 40 hours a week paid. So yeah, if you guys want to talk about your work or research experience, sorry. Yutzen or
So yeah, as Tammy said, as an international student, your visa only allows you to work 20 hours a week. And there's so many opportunities to work on WashU campus and even at the med school. So I currently work with the WashU the University Advancement Center. And we do a lot of engagement with alumni, with donors, parents of the university, and then just friends of the university. And that's a great opportunity for networking with like WashU in general. Today is actually Giving Day, WashU Giving Day, and I'm going to be helping with the event. I have a lot of friends who do research. So if you're interested in research, the Brown School has a lot of research centers, and there are opportunities for graduate students to help with research. There's also the medical campus in case you're interested in working there, you can reach out to some of these like professors, PIs. Even before you come, you can start reaching out to them to let them know that you're interested in working with them. And once you get in, you can just networking. I believe it's just about connection, trying to connect with everybody and just asking your friends, asking students who are already here, and they can direct you to some great, amazing opportunities.
I can answer like how I found my jobs, because I know a lot of people are asking like, where do I find these opportunities? So I know there are some, they post some positions on the Brown School website. So that's something that you can start looking for before you are given a WashU email. Then once I had my WashU email, I like looked into Handshake, which is like a job searching tool. There some people will post like research opportunities on Handshake. But for me, I found my jobs through emails. So I remember receiving emails from the GPO saying that they're hiring global peer leader. And I also have another job at the Center of Social Development. For that one, I also received a hiring email from my current manager. So I would say the opportunities come from everywhere. You just have to sometimes be active, but also sometimes it just comes to you. So yeah, that's my advice.
So, Ziti, there was a question in the chat about global health that I'd like to answer live, because I think there's probably high interest among this population that's doing MPH for the global health major. So it asked about the benefits of global health. One thing with this particular concentration is the word we use. If you are thinking of global health, you do need to go ahead and declare that, because you have to take the required global health course and Foundations of Field in the fall. All MPH and MSW and MSP students have to do Foundations of Field, but for MPH, that's usually in the spring. But because our global health students get priority for global practicum, which is funded, you can receive, for example, this year we're giving $4,000 for students accepted for global practicum. We have to get started much earlier. So that's one benefit. Is most MPH students don't really start their search until the spring, but our global health students, because you're enrolled in those classes in the fall, you get started thinking about it much earlier, and access to those resources and access to additional funding. As for which concentration, that really depends on, what your goals are. If you're interested in working globally, if you're interested in working global health, if you want to go back to your own country and employ what you're learning, global health certainly is a nice overview of that aspect of public health. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, thanks, Terry, for sharing that piece of information. I know we are getting close to the end of this section, but I want to ask the last questions before we end it. Some students are really interested in learning about your housing, searching, experience. Can you share a little bit about how you find your current apartment, and do you have any tips for the upcoming students?
So I live in a quadrangle apartment. I believe we talked about it earlier. So what I did was so when you look at the quadrangle website, you can look through, they have lots of apartments, buildings, and then the pricing. You look through, you select which ones you are interested in. And then usually for each of the blocks that quadrangle has, they have somebody you can send an email to. So I sent an email to one of them, and then they go back to me as to whether the apartment was available, the pricing, and then how to go about payment. So we had to make so it's a 2-bedroom. I had to look for a roommate. We made an initial payment just to secure the place. So if you're really interested, and it goes really fast because there's so many international students coming in, so I advise you to start early. Just let them know you're interested, send them an email, and then you need to make your down payments before you come in to secure the place. Yeah. And there are other places that are not WashU owned, but they are also really good. There are some like realtors around. I have some friends living in those buildings. I could try and find them and then share with you guys. You could also reach out to them. They are really good places in safe parts of St. Louis.
Thank you. Lisa, go ahead.
I've used Facebook and Zillow, because sometimes you can find like more affordable housing there, but I just want to say that be careful of scams because people know that there are students looking for housing, so sometimes you have to be cautious about scams.
Cool. Yeah, those are really great resources, and thank you again for sharing that with us. I know we are getting close to the end. Before we end it, I just really want to say thank you all for joining us. This is such a great conversation. And for those who would like to continue the conversations with us, I would like to invite you to, use these platforms to connect with us, and where you can find a lot of opportunities to learn more about the Brown School and connect with our community, particularly with the international community. And I want to say thank you for joining us, and also thank you panelists Tammy, Uten, and also Astura for the insight, tips, and wisdom. It is so appreciated. If you have further questions, please feel free to reach out to groundadmission@worcester.edu. We will be addressing your questions, and we will try to find a way to help you. And if you want to connect with Global Programs Office, and Tammy and I will be sharing our email address in the chat in just a second. Particularly if you have questions about, global practicum, field-based courses, or opportunities for international students, we will be available to meet with you virtually or answer your questions via email. And thank you all again and for joining us. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the week. And please continue connecting with us, and we are looking forward to have you either this fall or in the future. Thank you all so much, and have a wonderful rest of your week.
For a welcome letter from me, I think it's going out in June, which will tell you how you can connect to many of the things we've mentioned here, including the peer mentors and ESL and orientation and other things like that. So thank you for attending.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.